What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Off the Bench podcast. I'm your host, Cody Kimberlin, with my co-host Trevor Henson and our boy down there from Sports News N60, and we're going to discuss the AFC North today. We're going to go over all four teams. We have a question from our audience, and the question of the day is: would you rather go wide receiver or running back in the first round of a fantasy draft this season? And we're going to let Adam take it over. What would you rather do this year, Adam?
I'm going receiver. The last few years, I've gone like receiver. Even like I'm one that's waiting on the running backs now. I definitely would go receiver. The only way I would think running back, maybe if I had like last pick and I had back to back, something like that, or maybe like 11th in a 12-team league, maybe depending on who was there. But yeah, I'm big on receiver. I want to get your boy this year, Jamar. So
I hear
hopefully
you.
I'll be able to grab him.
What about you, Trevor?
Yeah, I agree. I've always been a running back guy over the past probably 5 years, just because it was kind of slim at running back a lot of times. But now it's seeming like it's a lot more slim on the receiver side. And yeah, unless you really got your dead set on some running backs that you want, like receivers kind of make sense this year. Uh, at a few leagues already, I got a top, within a top three pick, and it makes it kind of difficult to wait because I'm somebody that's not used to drafting a receiver that early. It's usually a running back, and then I'll come back, start getting some either another running back, and then build up receivers because there's usually so many.
Sure.
This year's gonna be different. It's gonna be interesting. I need to start planning a lot more mock drafts because I'm in a wide range of different leagues: 16 team, 12 league. There's a 14 team, and another 12. So I got to start doing some mock drafts and figuring this out for sure.
I feel you. Our personal league, the Off the Bench Invitational, is a 16 teamer, and forever, it just made sense to go running back because, like Trevor and Adam were saying, it gets slim very quickly at that position. And nowadays, it just seems like it's complete opposite. Like each team is starting to have more of a stud running back, and
Yeah.
after you get through with those first 10 receivers, like, it drops off drastically. Like you have the people at the top, like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, who can give you 30 points a game almost every single week if they play the cards right. And that's a lot harder for a running back to do than a receiver. So I think times are finally changing, and the running back heavy draft strategy is finally starting to fall off, and we're going to see some change. And it's better to jump on the bandwagon early than be left in the dust. So I think, me personally, I'm going to take receiver this season. I'm going to try my hand at my boy Jamar Chase this year and see what he can do for me with the second overall pick. Hopefully he'll be there. So let's go ahead and jump into the AFC North like we were talking about. Let's have Adam take it away with the Steelers.
Right. So let's see. Last year, I feel like the Steelers in the beginning of the year, obviously they struggled big time. They started Mitch Trubisky, who I think is a horrible quarterback, one of the biggest busts ever, in my opinion. But that's not the point. But then when Kenny Pickett took over, I mean they played well. And I really think that as he progresses with the offense, it's going to be a dynamite offense. I'm really big on the Steelers this year. I have them going actually 11-6. I think the Bengals will win the North, but I do think the Steelers are a playoff team. Last year they ended up 9-8, and literally had Mitch Trubisky starting half of the games.
Yeah.
So you figure Kenny Pickett probably would have won two of those games. He only had one interception in the last 7 weeks last year, which is huge. So, and they also upgraded the offensive line. So I think Najee Harris, who actually talked about fantasy, I think he's going to be a big time fantasy running back this year. Because if you remember last year, he was a first round pick, who
Yeah.
obviously wasn't even close to that. But now, if guys don't take him, like if he somehow even like an end second, early third, if you grab him there, I think it's good. And then they also had an amazing draft.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are huge on their draft. Again, upgraded the offensive line. Darnell Washington at tight end. They probably have the deepest tight end core. So yeah, I got them going 11-6 and getting a wild card.
Okay, I understand that. I like Najee Harris. I think that in fantasy, when you're looking for a running back, you want a bell cow, a true three down back, and there's very few left in the NFL, and he's one of those guys that is going to be doing that. If he can continue to get receptions, he'll be a steal at that 2-3 turn if you can snag him there. Trevor, do you have anything you want to add about the Steelers?
Yeah, no, he's very right. There's a good chance. They had a terrible year last year and probably should not have done as good as they even did. And I'm glad they did, just like you bringing up, I mean, with Mike Tomlin, I mean, he's gone 16 years with a winning record. And he just did it on a disastrous year when they shouldn't have been winning. They somehow pulled it out. They had a horrific offensive line. It's one reason Najee Harris was affected.
Yeah.
Plus you had Trubisky, he didn't live up to anything, and then you got Kenny Pickett, who they actually, I think they won the last 6 out of their 7 games, is why they pulled it off. So it's like, I mean, there's a good chance they're kind of a sleeper team this year. They got some good receivers, some veteran receivers, and then you got George Pickens. He's a little younger. You got Deontay Johnson. He's always been a pretty consistent receiver. He didn't do very good last year just because the team was struggling.
Touchdowns were down.
And then you got Allen Robinson. I did see some today where they're being optimistic with him, saying he's doing good. I mean, he's been in the league for a while, but he's always proven that he can put up big numbers when he has the chance. So they're very extremely unpredictable team this year, but there's a very good chance. I had them third out of the division, but it's just because I have 2 other teams ranked higher than them. I think they have a better chance, but the Steelers could easily come. I mean, this whole division, actually, this is probably one of the toughest divisions once I was really looking into it, to where it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a fun one to watch on the AFC side.
I agree completely. I don't think Mike Tomlin gets the credit that he deserves. I feel like it's him and Bill. Those are the 2 guys in the NFL. Let's move on to the Baltimore Ravens. We'll have Trevor start with them.
Yeah, so Baltimore Ravens, I have them as an 11-6 record. The question with them, the main question is, are they gonna be healthy this year? They struggled a lot last year. Lamar Jackson was not healthy. You lost J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards. I think Rashad Bateman was out for like about 6 games last year too. When you have somebody like Demarcus Robinson, who led their receiving yards at like a 450 yards as their top receiver, even over Mark Andrews, he had a down year too, as his lowest career wise for catch and reception. So, and Demarcus Robinson only started like 5 games.
I know.
So it's but the exciting part is they got a new offensive scheme, a new offensive coordinator who's going to be more pass to her and about protecting Lamar Jackson, to where hopefully he doesn't have to run as much, even though he could easily, he's kind of like, I'm hoping they're going to treat him more like to where it's more like a Mahomes, where he gets to pass a lot more, but he can't, if he thinks he should run, he's going to make you miss and he's going to do good. He's that athletic. But they do have Odell Beckham. They just added Zay Flowers. They still have Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman. And it's one of the best receiving cores they've had in a while, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So as long as Lamar can stay healthy and the rest of the offense, I think they got a pretty good mix, and I can get excited about that. And plus, if their defense stays as a top 10 defense, then the Bengals might want to watch out. They're coming for you, Cody.
I hear you. I think they're finishing second. I like what they're doing there. I like that they're getting Lamar the weapons that he needs. Lamar Jackson is a unanimous MVP. A lot of people forget that just 2 years ago, he was the guy, and I mean, over 1,000 yards rushing as a quarterback, crazy numbers. He's Mike Vick, but bigger and stronger. He runs, Mike Vick ran a 4.3 and he runs a 4.4. So, they're right there. They're the same person basically. And in today's NFL, that translates well. So I like what they're doing. I kind of agree with you on the health situation. I think that their scheme and the way that they run the ball, it leads to injuries. So if this receiving core can help Lamar be a little more of a pocket passer, and even if it's just short and middle, medium yard range passes, I think it'll help them a lot with just getting to the playoffs. I think that's what they'll have to do. I think that they won't finish first. I do think they'll be a wild card. I have them second. So, Adam, what do you have to add about the Baltimore Ravens?
I got them going 9-8.
Okay.
Like I said, obviously I was bigger on Pittsburgh, so I went through the schedule and I figured there's not going to be 3 10-win teams, but I wouldn't be surprised if they won 10, 11, 12 games. But I think their schedule is very tough. I'll go through some games real fast. Cincinnati twice, but you could see both those losses. I think my Lions are going to be a tough game for them, even though I picked them to beat us, but I think it'll be a tough game.
I
And
agree.
then their last 7 games are teams that can literally all make the playoffs. You got Bengals, Chargers, Rams, Jaguars, 49ers, Miami, and Pittsburgh. I mean, it's a gauntlet at the end. So if
Yes.
Lamar Jackson, like you guys are saying, if Lamar Jackson is hurt, there's no way the backup this year is winning 2 out of those last 7 games. There's no way. So I
Yeah.
think it's just down to health. And I hope I'm wrong because I'm a big Lamar fan, but I think he's going to get hurt again, even if it's for a couple games. But that division's so tough, he has to play all 17. So we'll see.
I like the take. All right. We'll go ahead and move on to the Cleveland Browns, and we'll let Trevor start with those.
Oh, fun. Well, Cleveland Browns, I have them as I kind of wanted to do it worse, but I'll get to a reason why. But I have them at like an 8 and 9. Give them a
Okay.
little bit, just because I am optimistic that Deshaun Watson will turn things around. Um, they're either going to be better or they're going to be an all-out disaster. Is all I'm going to say. It's one of those, and it's tough to get excited about the team. Deshaun Watson didn't look himself towards the end. But now he's got a full season ahead of him. There's still the presence of Myles Garrett, who's amazing. Fun fact, he had like 16 of their 34 total sacks last year. So yeah, he
Yeah.
pretty much had
Man.
most of their sacks and the rest of the team. They still got an efficient rushing attack with Chubb. Um, but Watson only averaged like 184 passing yards a game in his 6 starts that he did have. I believe it was like 6. So he had a rough time. He was trying to get things going under a new offense that he hadn't played with before compared to the Texans for how long he was there and used to that. But they did add some receivers, Elijah Moore, Cedric Tillman. They're going to be featuring Amari Cooper. They still have Peoples Jones and then David Noku at tight end as well. So he's got some people to pass to. He knows how to pass the ball. He knows how to use his legs. So they are kind of excited. It's just all around. I don't think they got all the pieces there. So they're definitely the bottom of this division and got a lot to prove. But another fun thing or why I just the Browns usually always let me down. So I think
Little
they're gonna
personal
just stay
grudge.
where they're at. Yeah, so it's like one fact I could tell you is that they haven't won this division since 1989.
Hmm.
They finished second place just 3 times in that span.
And as
That's
long
very
as Joe Burrow's alive, I don't think that they're going to be winning it anytime soon.
that's
So
very Detroit Lion like.
I love your take on that. Adam, what do you have to add on the Cleveland Browns?
I got the Browns going 7-10, so very similar. Again, that division's so tough. They have so many hard games out of the division. And Deshaun Watson didn't look good to me. Maybe he'll prove me wrong, but I don't know. I think the time away really hurt him. The only thing I think he does have a lot of weapons, like Trevor stated. I think Elijah Moore was a huge pickup for them. Very underrated trade in the offseason. But I just think their schedule is too difficult. Division's the best in football, in my opinion. So I think 7-10 is not a horrible record for that division. But I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see them getting past 8 wins anyway. But
I like that. One thing to note is that last time Deshaun Watson was on a football field for a whole year, he was a top 5 quarterback. So if any bottom feeder could, have a big turnaround, it could be them. Do I think it'll happen? No, I don't. I don't think that the team got better in the offseason. I think they got worse. For fantasy, of course, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, leaving the team helps him, but it doesn't help the team in general. You want as many pieces around you as you can. So that's what we have on the Cleveland Browns. They're our last place team consensusly, it seems like. Let's move on to the Cincinnati Bengals. Adam, we'll have you start with them.
all right, Cincinnati Bengals. You threw me for a loop. I thought you'd start with your boys, but
I'll
I
go
got.
last.
I
I
thought
think
so too.
I think the Bengals are going to go 12-5. Again, on them, I wouldn't be surprised if they won 13 games even, or took the number 1 seed and won 14. I'm huge on the Bengals. They're one of my favorite teams to watch. I'm not just trying to toot your horn.
Hey, we're a good team.
Him and Patrick Mahomes are the top 2 in the league. Joe Burrow is better than Josh Allen, and it's not even close. Joe Burrow is so clutch, and Josh Allen hasn't been clutch at all. So, but I mean, I think they have the best 3 receivers in football. The top 3 receivers, Chase, Higgins, and Boyd, hands down. All those guys, 1,000-yard receivers easily. But I think Chase, as long as he stays healthy and he plays all 17 games, I mean, I think he'd go for 1,500 yards. The dude's that good. They picked up Orlando Brown on the offensive line. You guys needed that drastically. That's what's been killing you guys is the offensive line.
Yes.
Orlando Brown and then Irv Smith at tight end is very underrated pick. This guy was supposed to be a huge player coming out of college. Minnesota, I feel like they never really used him right. Then they went and got Hawkinson, and he was kind of a castaway. I think that's going to be a big pickup for you guys. And then I just hope that your safeties are good. You guys lost 2 of your safeties. But you have Jackson Hill, who is a Michigan boy so I think now that he's going to get time on the field, that's why they didn't spend the money. They trust in him. And I think he'll play good. I think you guys, 12-5. And I'm not going to give my season predictions yet, but I have them going pretty far.
Good deal. All right, Trevor, what would you like to add on this?
Yeah, so sorry if y'all hear the little one in the back, but I have their record being 13-4. They do have a tougher schedule than the rest of the division. But it's the Bengals. I love the team. Like he said, I love watching him. I love Jamar Chase. I've loved him since he was at LSU. I've always watched him, and I'm an Alabama guy, Roll Tide. But I've always liked watching him, even when he was playing with Burrow over there. They're just a fun team to watch. They deserve winning. They fought hard. So I love getting to see Burrow and Jamar Chase. They're one of my probably second or third favorite teams besides the Texans. But y'all still have an amazing offense. You got Jamar Chase, Burrow, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. I love T. Higgins too. Y'all added Irv Smith Jr. I think he'll help out a lot since y'all lost Hayden Hurst. Joe Mixon kind of trailed off last year, but he did have way more. So I'm thinking he's going to be a lot more of a PPR threat even this year.
Yes.
But he did have way more receptions than he is by like 20 or 30 receptions more than what he usually averages. I think he went up from like 40 to 60. So I see it happening again. I think he'll be a PPR threat again this year. I know he's going through the whole pay cut thing. Hopefully that doesn't affect anything. I'm not trying to let that.
No.
I think Joe Mixon's been with the team for so long, and I don't see any other running backs in the backfield that are there to replace him. Travion Williams, who they have as the second right now, he comes from Texas A&M. I watched him when he was there. He's somebody like you could hit him one contact, he's gonna go down. He can't push a pile forward. I don't see him being a good ball protection guy. Like when we talked about the free agencies are available, like I was saying, Zeke would be a great addition. And I think it'd really help you a lot if they pulled something like that out to help with the pass blocking, and kind of keep it kind of explosive on that side of things. But Joe Mixon, I think he's gonna be great. Hopefully all that works out and that doesn't cause any stirs on the running back side, which I don't think it will, but you never know sometimes. But like he touched on, y'all did have some losses this offseason, the free agency, but y'all came right back in and replaced them, and then also added some other, like Miles Murphy out of Clemson, who's kind of like I think he was y'all's first draft pick, and he's like a pass rusher, so that'll be great. You got Jordan Battle. I forgot who the cornerback was.
DJ Turner from Michigan.
DJ Turner, yeah.
He was a 4-3-4.
Yeah. So they're gonna be great. So this is gonna be the third straight year that they're gonna win the AFC North championship. So hopefully we see them in the Super Bowl again. They're fun to watch. I don't want to call it a rival. I don't even know who y'all's rivalry is. It's gonna be the Chiefs or Bills, one of them. But I'll let you touch on that. They're your boys.
All right. So I would like to start off by saying thank you, Andy Dalton, for 3 years ago leading us to the worst record in football. So that way we can draft who will eventually go down as one of the top quarterbacks of all time, Mr. Joe Burrow. I thank you, Andy Dalton. Next, I wanted to touch on Trevor's when he was discussing the Joe Mixon situation. I was worried too because he was having a down year, but at the same time, Joe Burrow, like they even discussed it, he really likes empty sets and running 5 wide. Like that's his thing. He just he wants as many options. He's going to get the ball down the field. He wants it to go through him. So I think that's a reason why Joe Mixon's numbers were down, but his receiving yards were up. So I think that's part of it. I think that we're going to win our division easily, and I wanted to go through game by game, if that's okay with you guys, and discuss, the wins and losses real fast. We start out against the Cleveland Browns, and I think we beat them heavily, at least 2 to 3 touchdowns. Then we go to Baltimore, and last 2 times we've played them, we put up over 40. So I think, we're going to stomp the Ravens. And then we go to the Rams, who are a complete different team. That defense is nothing like we faced in the Super Bowl. So I think that we're going to completely just murder them as well. So that's 3-0 starting out. Then we go to Tennessee, and Will Levis, Ryan Tannehill, Michael Jordan. It doesn't matter who the Titans have at quarterback. We're going to beat them and go 4-0. Then we go to Arizona, who I think is the worst team in football. That's going to be 5-0. Then we're going to go to the Seattle Seahawks and face Geno Smith. I don't think that Geno's going to have a year like he did last year. Even if he does, it doesn't matter because we're better. So we're going to be going into the bye week at 6-0.
I got them 6-0 too.
Yeah. And then we have the bye. We're going to get all rested up and healthy and, relax, maybe go on a boat trip somewhere with the boys. And then we're going to come back and play the San Francisco 49ers and let them know that the AFC is the dominant side. So, we're going to stomp the 49ers. So we're going to go 7-0 into week 9 and play the Bills, who we hate because we were nice to them and they were mean to us. Like, we told them, it's okay. We understand, we want to make sure your player's healthy. And then they just, told us, oh, well, we're still going to have the higher seed. So we went and beat them at home. We just had to do that in the playoffs to them. So I have us beating them. And then we're going to go to Houston, and the Texans have no chance at all. So we're going to beat them. That's going to put us at 9-0. Then we're going to beat Baltimore again by 40. And then we're just going to go ahead, and at the end of our schedule is actually a lot easier. We play the Steelers, Jaguars, and Colts, and then Vikings. So that's all 4 games I think we can win easily. The only game I'm worried about is week 17 against the Chiefs, which I will be at. So I think that we have a strong possibility of Joe Burrow winning an MVP and possibly having an undefeated season because of the team around him. Hot take, yes, I understand. It's a little biased because I'm a Bengals fan, but if we have any year that we could break records and do this, it would be this season before we have to pay people. What do you guys think?
I mean, I don't know about going undefeated. Just you guys have a tough games, man. Like the game, I'll just give, if you don't mind, real quick, the 5 losses I thought after the bye week against San Francisco, because I felt like maybe they would like have some fun, and then traveling out to the West Coast is always tough. So I had a loss to San Francisco and a loss to Buffalo.
Okay.
I had a loss at Baltimore. Just tough divisional matchup.
Yeah.
I had a loss at the Jags, which that's just me thinking they're not going to win all the games. So, and I'm pretty high on the Jags, as we discussed last time.
Oh yeah.
And then I picked loss at Kansas City, but there's no games where I look and I'm like, the Bengals are losing that game. Like every other team that we discussed over the last 2 shows, I can be like, they're losing that game. I'm just, splitting hairs here just because I don't think I don't have the gonad 17-0. But like I said, if they went 14-3, I'm not surprised at all.
You heard it here first. If the Bengals do win, you heard it on Off the Bench podcast that I'm calling their undefeated season and Joe Burrow's MVP early, before preseason even starts.
Yeah.
What do you have to add, Trevor?
No, I agree. I mean, the Chiefs very well could lose that game. It's late in the season. Everybody's gonna be playing elite. You don't know. It's gonna be a very close game for sure. But that's a team that could beat you. And then Vikings have a chance too. I mean, I'm not weighing the Vikings out this year either. They still got an elite offense. They don't have Dalvin Cook, but I think they're still going to be pretty good. I'm not a Cousins hater. I think he's a consistent quarterback, and he does. I mean, he's gonna still. They might come one game short of making the playoffs or something, but they're still gonna put up stuff for
Oh
fantasy
yeah,
as
yeah.
usual with Justin Jefferson. We'll see. I'm not somebody that hates on the Vikings. I think they still got some potential this year. And then Bills, same thing. 49ers. Uh, I think Ravens could very well win one of those. It could be a 50-50 thing. They have a chance at, like we said, if they're healthy, I would be scared of them because they will most likely have if their defense is top 10 again. I mean, they're gonna make sure the Bengals can't do what they do on offense. Uh, I mean, so yeah, I mean, like I said, I have them as a 13-4 team. So I mean, there's only a few teams. I mean, they do have a harder schedule than the rest of the division. They don't play as difficult of teams, but you also do have a lot of teams on here that y'all could easily beat. And Texans will probably beat y'all, but we'll talk about that later.
I got one. Can I give one hot take really fast? One
Oh yeah, go
bold
ahead.
prediction you could say is I think the leading fantasy running back at the end of the year for you guys is going to be Chase Brown. A lot of
Okay,
people probably don't know who he is, but this guy at
I
Illinois,
do.
I'm a huge Michigan fan, like I've said numerous times already. But we've had a stout rushing defense 2 years in a row. I mean, top 5 national run defense,
Yeah.
and Chase Brown ran all over us. They almost upset us last year. This guy, if I'm not mistaken, led the nation in rushing 1 or 2 years in college. He is a beast, and I think one more rookie that will be under the radar for you guys, but I think we'll have some big plays is Charlie Jones, another Big Ten kid from Purdue who guy had over 100 catches in college last year. So I think
Monster.
you guys had like a very, very good draft, good value for where you drafted. So yeah, that's all. I think Chase Brown, I'm big on him. That's going to be like my
I
last
like it.
round flyer guy.
I like it. And to talk about one of Trevor's boys with Bama, we lost Jesse Bates in the offseason, and everyone thought that it was going to be our downfall. And I really like Jalen Battle. Like, Battle is a monster. Like, I watched his highlight tape, and like he was just destroying everybody. I mean, pick six. He's hitting people and like hit sticks. And I'm just like, I mean, coming in as a rookie on that kind of rookie contract and him playing like that, that's gonna really, really help us a lot.
And let's
So,
just say you guys have an awesome punter too.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Brad Robbins from Michigan, baby.
yes sir, yes sir. Hopefully, Evan McPherson has a better year than he did last year. He kicked us to the Super Bowl the year before and had kind of a down year. So I'm hoping Evan McPherson returns to his former glory. To touch on another kicker real fast before we end the show, I think the best kicker in the entire planet Earth and of all time is in this division with Mr. Justin Tucker, who I will be drafting very early in drafts. Everyone always laughs at me for it, but I love me some Justin Tucker. He's the most
Don't
accurate
say his
kicker ever.
name. He's killed me. A 61-yarder to beat me and like a 65-yarder to beat me. That's
Monster.
the 2 worst losses almost in my life. Ugh, never again, please.
One more thing to discuss at the end is do any of us feel like Elijah Mitchell is going to be a problem for Christian McCaffrey? And would you still take Christian McCaffrey with a top 3 pick because of that?
I'll start it off real fast.
Okay.
I don't think he's a problem for McCaffrey at all. I think he helps McCaffrey. McCaffrey's been hurt a lot, in the years past. So you don't want this guy to be a bell cow like we said about Najee Harris. This guy needs to have 15, 20 touches of the ball a game. Doesn't matter if it's 5 catches, 15 rushes, 10 catches, 10 rushes. Get the ball in his hand, and then when he needs a spell, he can sit for a whole series and Mitchell comes in. The offense doesn't miss a beat when Mitchell's in. It really doesn't. When he's
Yeah.
healthy, the guy there's games last year when they were both healthy. Mitchell looked like the better runner, but playmaker, obviously, McCaffrey. I mean, the guy can line up in the slot anywhere. So I don't think it hurts him at all. I think they help each other personally. I think it hurts if one goes down, it hurts them.
Okay. So you would still take him with a top 3 pick.
Yeah. Yeah. If I
Okay.
have a top 3, that's one receiver. I mean, one running back I may consider.
Okay.
Yep.
What about you, Trev?
For sure, top 5. I've been leaning against the top 3. It's hard to say that too because Christian McCaffrey is I mean, I would say is the number one back. But as far as the question goes, is Elijah Mitchell a problem? And the reason I'm gonna say this is yes, is because the 5 games that Mitchell was in when he did come into that team, from kind of what McCaffrey is used to averaging, with about 20 24 carries plus target, like probably, easily 135 yards, probably like a touchdown for sure, average a touchdown. And he sunk like half that when Mitchell was in the game. So, and when you come to fantasy wise, yeah, it does affect, because if he was by himself, yeah, he'd be the stud we all know him to be. So is he still going to be yeah, and it's going to help him not be that bell back and everything, but it will, as far as PPR goes, it will affect him to where I mean, that's why they're almost putting Bijan Robinson ahead of him right now, because they're seeing him as a complete PPR back, dynasty back. It doesn't, because he's a rookie and everything else, just because even though there are some players on there, I think that could get in the way too. But it's a little weird when you look at all the rankings when it comes to that. But just based off the stats last year, it did affect him, and we'll see. I could easily be proven wrong, and maybe the 49ers change something, but they are a run heavy team, so I see them both being used no matter what, as long as they still stay healthy.
Okay. I like the take. I think that I like both of y'all's arguments on it. I see where Adam's coming from, because if McCaffrey gets hurt, he's not giving you any points, and like Trevor stated, the games that Elijah Mitchell was healthy and played with Christian McCaffrey, they split carries. It was right down the middle, I'm pretty sure. Like, they split the workload completely, which hurts McCaffrey. But at the same time, it's not like McCaffrey's not going to give you 15 points a game. He's still going to average around, that 15 to 17 range. He's just not going to give you his monstrous, 30 and 40 point weeks that you sometimes see from McCaffrey. So I like it both ways. Me personally, like I said at the start, I think this is the year of the receiver. But McCaffrey, if I was taking any running back, I think it's between him and Bijan for sure. At 3, maybe not for me, but definitely if I had, the 4th or 5th pick, and those top, 3 receivers of Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Cooper Kupp were gone, McCaffrey would be probably my number 4. I like him there. So thank you guys for watching. This is our episode right now. We're going to let the audience decide. So comment below and tell us what division you would like us to cover next. And next time we're on, we'll make the division for you. Thank you all. Be sure to subscribe. We're trying to get our numbers up. Thank you all. Since last video, we went up over 10 subscribers. We're at 60 now. Be sure to like and share with a friend. Later.